tó mi dán lòdùnú bá tí tó mi níra omi ìnira ìdí dàbí ẹ̀wọ̀ náírà wá ìlú polúkúrú mùsù ewé tàgbà lọ́jọ́ yan wọn níṣu abẹ́ orí ewé rí ṣùgbọ́n ẹ ò fẹ́ rí abẹ́ orí àgbà ẹ̀rí àtẹnujẹ ló fẹ́ parí pẹ̀tẹ̀pẹ̀tẹ̀ taná ní ìfọ̀pá ẹni bá tàgbà kó lọ́mọ ọ̀fẹ́ ní ṣé pẹ̀lẹ́ máa sùn yẹ bá sọ pé ò mọ kankan ẹ̀yìn àrò lẹ́ máa wà ṣé pẹ̀lẹ́ máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ o ṣé pẹ̀lẹ́ máa sùn ṣé ní o ṣẹ́nu àtọ̀ ẹ̀yìn àrò lẹ́ máa wà ẹ̀ máa ṣẹlẹ̀ o.
Kí ni sùúrù tí ò lérè? Kí ni iṣẹ́ tí kò ṣeré? Wọ́n ṣàlẹ́yọ̀ tí ò lóko. Ó kúkú ṣiṣẹ́ rere. Ẹgbẹ́ sọ pé a ṣì wà lọ́mọdé. Nǹkan ṣàlàyé.
Dubarin, in his famous quote on change, posited that change is inevitable. Change will always occur, but the application of direction to change determines its process. It is on this note that I welcome to the most informative, educative, and analytical program, Pinpoint, from the stable of iPower 102.7 FM, Imre Ile Owo. Pinpoint is a program that updates you on events and happenings that is reshaping the Nigerian system and polity. This is a program that informs you with detailed analysis of events across politics, security, economy, education, and an in-depth view of government policies with related trending issues in the Nigerian system. The program Pinpoint are the feedback segment where listeners are expected to call in and hear the views, opinion, and contribution to any topic issues discussed. It is on this note that I welcome you on board the program. My name is Akin Adebayo, your host on the program. We want to go on a short break. We'll be back in a moment. Please don't change the dial.
Pẹ̀tẹ̀pẹ̀tẹ̀ taná ní ìfọ̀pá ẹni bá tàgbà kó lọ́mọ ọ̀fẹ́ ní ṣé pẹ̀lẹ́ máa sùn yẹ bá sọ pé ò mọ kankan ẹ̀yìn àrò lẹ́ máa wà ṣé pẹ̀lẹ́ máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ o ṣé pẹ̀lẹ́ máa sùn ṣé ní o ṣẹ́nu àtọ̀ ẹ̀yìn àrò lẹ́ máa wà.
Welcome back. It's still your program Pinpoint. We are transmitting from your darling station, iPower 102.7 FM, Imre Owo. Today, we shall be discussing on this same topic. I deliberately said this same topic because it has been in the front burner of Nigerian discourse. We've discussed it. We've discussed that. We continue to discuss it. We shall continue to impress it to the ears of the government, particularly on what to do and how to go about it, and also making them to know that we are feeling the pain more than they do. In their own space, they have security details surrounding them. They have security personnel securing their properties, securing their house, even to the extent that their children are equally secured with the security personnel. Now, at the expense of we taxpayers' money. Why we taxpayers are at the worst end of this whole problem going on in this country. And what is the problem I'm talking about here? It's the same problem that we'll be discussing all this while, and that we shall continue to discuss. And that is the problem or challenges of insecurity. It is becoming more alarming. It is becoming unbearable. The question now is this, or should I say, my own personal observation is this. We always hear this rhetoric from government saying that they are winning the war against terrorism. They are winning the war against insurgency. They are winning the war against banditry, painting all manners of picture of winning the war. But the question now is this that I want to ask ourselves. Are they really winning the war? Or probably the Nigerian government is just surviving it? What about we, the masses, that are the worst end of this whole issue? How are we been coping? We've heard of families that their family members were kidnapped. They have sold their properties. Some have even gone as far as borrowing loan. Because of this issue of kidnapping, banditry here and there, many farms have been destroyed in the northern part of Nigeria. Many people, as you speak with you, they are in IDPs. Many people can no longer go to farm. In fact, to the extent that some that are even able to go to farm still has to pay a certain amount of money before they could go and harvest what they actually planted on their farmland. And not just that, they still have to reserve for the cattle of these bandits to still feed on in the farm. In fact, it got to a stage in Nigeria that these terrorists started planting flags in various local governments in northern Nigeria. People could no longer go to churches, and they could go to mosque. It got to a stage that they attack churches, they go to prayer grounds to carry out their heinous crimes. And just recently, an attack equally took place again in Borno, a state that is synonymous for these terrorism activities, a state that is more known, in fact, that is reputed, let me put it that way, no matter how funny it may sound, but it is known, is synonymous to terrorism. Equally experienced another terrorist attack recently. The first you are there about. And for Jack Robinson, you see the federal government deploying. In fact, the president yesterday directed all service chiefs to go to Borno. The question is this: is it the presence of the service chief that is more important there, or intelligence gathering and knowing how to go about implementing information or intelligence that was gathered? How far has Nigerian government been able to tackle the issue of sabotage in the system? Former President Goodluck Jonathan said that there are terrorist apologists in his cabinet. If a president, commander-in-chief could pronounce such admission and still he couldn't arrest any. UAE took another step further by giving us names of terrorist sponsors in Nigeria. Nigerian government did absolutely nothing about it. And here we are, still battling with the issue of insecurity. Like I said, even on those state down here, we are having our fair share. Like our governor once said, he said we are just having a skirmishes of unrest and what have you. The families that are paying these millions knows what they have lost. They know what's actually involved. Millions of nairas being paid to these bandits, being paid to these non-state actors. And still, what we hear is that we are on top of it. Is the Nigerian government really on top of it? Or they are just managing the whole thing? Or probably they are being political about it? Because at times I begin to imagine an intentional government will not fold its arms and allow its citizens being killed in this manner. By the time we now protest, some people now say that it's as a result of some unscrupulous elements that are trying to make the state ungovernable. trying to paint a picture of the state not being safe. If you know these unscrupulous elements, why not get them arrested? Get them arrested and let them be prosecuted. But most of the time, it's all these rhetorics. Well, I pray God save us. I want to go on a short break. We'll be back in a moment. Please don't change the dial. To join us on our social media handle on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X, iPower 1027 FM. On our studio line for feedback and contribution and suggestion 081 65 52 4699. The war against terrorism in Nigeria, particularly the long-running insurgent by Boko Haram, and its splinter group, Islamic State for West African Province, ISWAP, remains one of the most enduring security challenges in Africa. As of mid-March 2026, the conflict, now in its 17th year since erupting in 2009, shows no sign of decisive resolution. Instead, recent developments indicate a resurgence and a tactical escalation by the jihadists. It becomes so worrisome by the time this will become more tactical. Where are our security personnel? The Nigerian Army for the land assault and the Nigerian Air Force for the air assault? Where are they? How come these people are becoming tactical, embarking on coordinated attacks? And if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't that coordinated before now. How come they are now becoming more coordinated? And at the end of the day, what do we are on top of the game? Okay. With the Nigerian government continuing to hold urban centers and major population areas, but struggling to prevent repeated overrun of military bases, these people ask the God, the infantry, the impetus to overrun military bases. Why wouldn't that happen? When during Jumat service, you see some Muslim faithfuls going to pray in Nigerian Defense Academy compound. I crying out loud, Nigerian Defense Academy. I'm sorry, not Islamic or Christian or traditional religious defense academy. Nigerian Defense Academy that encompasses both Christian, Muslim, and other, traditional worshippers. You now see Muslims going there to pray. Can they pray outside until that place was attacked? And some police officers were kidnapped and ransom was paid, while some died along the line. Now, the current status in the resurgent threat in early 2026. The most striking development in recent week has been ISWAP intensified Ramadan offensive, that is late February to into March 2026, featuring coordinated complex attack on multiple military bases across Borno and Yobe states. Now, this incident includes on the March to 5th, simultaneous assault on at least 4 bases in Konduga, Mate, Jakana, and Maniok, all in Borno state, plus diversionary strike involving suicide vehicle bomb, improvised explosive devices, mortars, and small arm fire. This overwhelmed responses in several locations with limited Nigerian Air Force intervention. Where are the Tucana jets? Where are the bombers that America has deployed to Nigeria, that even Nigeria has gone ahead to purchase for this case of insecurity? Where are the drones? At times I begin to imagine how coordinated are the Nigerian military, military guys compared to these non-state actors. To me, on a personal note, they even appear to be more coordinated than a Nigerian military. This actually gives me for serious concern. On the March 8th to 9th, 2026, major attack on camps in Gonuri, that is in Yobe State, Kukawa and Dalo, that is in Borno, with diversionary action. Elsewhere, Israel claimed responsibility via that is ISIS affiliated agencies, and reports indicate some bases were overrun, leading to significant losses. You can imagine. They claim responsibility, and they went as far as even embarking on transmitting their responsibility. As I begin to imagine the energy being invested. If I should, where I am seated now, if I should use my phone to say that Tinubu is crazy, you'll be amazed at the rate at which the SS will flood where I am presently. easily have been located. And this same phone is being used by these non-state actors, and unfortunately, our security agencies cannot even track them. They can't be tracked. But if you are to be ordinary citizens that abuse or insult any of these government or political office holders, before you say Jack Robinson, it should have been traced, arrested, and prosecuted. If that energy that is being used in arresting citizens that probably just insult, maybe any political office holders, if it can be invested or channeled or redirected into making this country secured, I can assure you, everybody can go to bed with their two eyes closed. But unfortunately, the reverse is the case whenever it borders down on the issue of the terrorists. And that is why the question keeps on lingering. Who are the saboteurs? Did the government knows them? And if they knows them, why can't they get arrested? I will continue to say this. Here in Ondo State, the government came out and said that what is happening along Iluabo, Ogbese or axis, that is as a result of some unscrupulous elements trying to paint the state not to be safe, just to chase away investors. If the government could come in here and say that unscrupulous element, I think by now they should have been well furnished, or they should have been well informed about the details of those unscrupulous elements, and arrest should be made and prosecution to take place. There's a prominent Oba along that axis, that is the Olu of Iluabo in person of Chief Oba Olufalaye, now Oba, former secretary to the Growth of the Federation. It happened right there in his axis. I remembered when that Baba was kidnapped. The then Inspector General of Police, I've gotten his name, sent down chopper for that man to be located, and he was actually rescued. I don't think one was paid. Why can't we deploy the same energy in arresting these non-state actors? Or are we in animal farm where some animals are equal than the other? Because the energy being invested whenever this issue happens to the children or personalities in the country or in the community or in the state, as the case may be, the energy is always heavy. The effort is well pronounced. But when it borders down on ordinary citizens, the reverse is always the case. In February attack, massacres in villages, e.g. Madagi and Hong in Adamawa, killing 25 persons, including troops, probes westward into Middle Belt and North Central Zone. Boko Haram Sadiku, clashes between Boko Haram and ISWAP in Sambisa Forest and Mandara Mountain. Tactical evolution. Increase of weaponized drones, night assaults, IED feint and diversionary tactics. By the time terrorists begin to use weaponized drone, then what is our government doing? Who are the people supplying them with all this state-of-the-art equipment? Can't our own government get all these things? Can they be purchased? Weaponized drone. If terrorists could have a weaponized drone, are we not saying that Ondo State, for instance, cannot get a armed drone, a weaponized drone, to tackle these insurgents? These are issues that are actually giving us serious concern here. Now, about the ongoing abductions, over 100 women and children in Gwaza Borno village raid, and killing attacks on rescued IDP undermine government return policies, with Borno government of Bangana Zulum noting persistence, pocket of insecurity in remote border areas despite relative peace in many parts. Now, if Bangana Zulum could come in here and say that we only have pocket of insecurity and there, now the real, in fact, what is the pocket now has now come out. And that was what we just experienced some few days back. We had about 46 people were killed and 100 plus persons were injured. Out of those people that are injured now, I can assure you, out of them equally survive it. These are issues that are giving us serious concern. Like the elder said, to join us on this program, on our social media handle is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X on iPower 1027 FM. And the studio line remains 081 65 52 4699. I tell that again, 081 65 52 4699. I'll be back in a moment. Please don't change the dial. Like I said, Is government really winning this war against terrorism or not? For instance, the military hold key towns, e.g. Maiduguri. They repelled some assault. They inflicted casualties on insurgents, including via occasional airstrikes and benefit from international support, that is the US, which involvement has expanded in 2006 advisor for training and intelligence, direct airstrike on ISIS linked targets in 2025 in northwest, and warning of the threat to US facilities. What about the jihadists? They have been repelling, they have been resistance to. Jihadists retain rural strongholds like Lake Chad and the forest, generate revenue, taxing people, provide governance in some areas, and adapted faster than counter efforts, higher soldier casualties, base overrun, intelligence gap, retaining failures, and spillover into a new region dilute focus. In a broader context, overlapping threats, strained resources, total deaths since 2009 exceed 40,000 persons, with millions displaced. Over 40,000 persons have been killed in this war of insurgents. For crying out loud, are we at war? Even if you are at war in this modern era, if I'm not mistaken, the fatality in Iran and no, in Ukraine and Russia is not up to 40,000. The fatality between Iran, US, Israel, and Qatar, Turkey, as the case may be, is not even up to 40,000. And here in Nigeria, where there is no war, just an act of insurgence, just an act of terrorism, and they are having this swell day, and still the government is not doing anything about it. These are issues that give room for serious concern. My time is fast spent, so I would like to come to conclusion by saying that the war against terrorism in Nigeria, centered on Boko Haram and ISWAP, remains a protracted struggle of attrition rather than divisive victory. As of mid-March 2026, the Nigerian government is surviving the insurgents through sustained military pressure, holding major urban cities like Maiduguri, repelling some assault, leveraging international support, including expanded US training and airstrike. However, the Nigerian government is not winning in any conclusive sense. Recent week, I have seen a brutal Ramadan offensive by ISWAP, with coordinated complex attack overrunning multiple bases in Borno and Yobe, and employing drones, suicide vehicles, and diversional tactics. This incident marks one of the deadliest periods for security forces in the year, exposing persistent vulnerability in rural areas, intelligence gap, and overstretched defense. I will be coming to an end today. Like I've already said, our time is fast spent. We don't have enough time for this program, but we just hope that after the Ramadan and Lenten period, we have enough time to discuss more elaborately on any topical issue we bring on board, particularly issues that bordered on our safety, issues that bordered on our economy, issues that bordered on threat to our success academically and intellectually. It is on this note, I want to say a very big thank you to every person that has been of tremendous help, particularly the general manager of this great station, Engineer Paul Olotu, the studio manager, MTK, the studio ICT director, person of Mr. Shegun, head of deals, Mr. Alaba, head of program, Mr. Elijah Olorotimi, and my other organs in the station. A very big thank you to you all. I say to you meet again next week. I remain your humble host, Akin Adebayo. Thanks for today. Bye-bye.